عمامي ولن يضيق رسول الله جاهك بي إذا الكريم تجلى باسم منتقم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم فإن من جودك الدنيا وضرتها ومن علومك علم اللوح والقلم يا نفس لا تقنطي من زلة عظمت إن الكبائر في الغفران كالأمام مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم لعل رحمة ربي حين يقسمها تأتي على حسب العصيان في القسم يا ربي واجعل رجائي غير منعكس لديك واجعل حسابي غير منخرم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم والطف بعبدك في الدارين إن له صبرا متى تدعوه الأهوال ينهزم وأذن لصحب صلاة منك دائمة على النبي بمنهل ومنسجم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم ما رنحت عذبات الباني ريح صبا وأتربا عيسى هاد العيس بالنغم ثم الرضا عن أبي بكر وعن عمر وعن علي وعن عثمان ذي الكرم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم والآل والصحب ثم التابعين لهم أهل التقى والنقى والحلم والكرم يا ربي بالمصطفى بلغ مقاصدنا واغفر لنا ما مضى يا واسع الكرم يا ربي بالمصطفى بلغ مقاصدنا واغفر لنا ما مضى يا واسع الكرم يا ربي بالمصطفى بلغ مقاصدنا واغفر لنا ما مضى يا واسع الكرم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم واغفر إلهي لكل المسلمين بما يتلون في المسجد الأقصى وفي الحرم بجاه من بيته في طيبة حرام واسمه قسم من أعظم القسم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. وهذه بردة المختار قد ختمت والحمد لله في بدء وفي ختم. أبياتها قد أتت 60 مع 100 فرج بها كربنا يا واسع الكرم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله صلى الله عليه.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد خاتم النبيين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. اللهم افتح فتوح العارفين، اللهم افتح علينا حكمتك وانشر علينا رحمتك يا ذا الجلال والإكرام، يا ذا الجلال والإكرام، يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. يا ربي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم، هو الحبيب الذي ترجى شفاعته لكل حول من الأحوال مقتهم. Alhamdulillah, praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as right to be praised in the beginning, the end and everything that is in between. We praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for these blessed nights of Ramadan, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends down His beautiful breezes of His forgiveness in the middle portion of this Ramadan al-Kareem. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives like He's never forgiven in the entire year. Allah is a Ghafoor Rahim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the fact that He's given these opportunities is that He's showing us that He wants to forgive us. So anybody who just turns to Him, even in the slightest, Allah is already there forgiving. So we ask Allah that He makes of those who are already forgiven, inshallah, and elevated and changed our rest of our lives that is in a state of obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the circles of certitude. It's about Iman, and it's always been about Iman. There's nothing else that you can take in the Akhirah except Iman. You can't take your money, you can't take anything, you can't take your status, your titles that you have. They're all for the dunya. But the real thing, the commodity of the Akhirah is going to be your Iman and your good deeds, isn't it? That's the only thing you have. Otherwise, Haman and Firaun and Shaddads are going to be the most richest people, and if they could have carried forward their offshore accounts to the Akhirah, they would deal with the best paradise already for themselves. They would have boxed off the special places. But Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, whether being given a lot of worldly possessions, wealth, status, all these things, that's not necessarily a sign that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you. That's not a sign. Just like having less and being poor and poverty isn't a sign that Allah hates you. It's different in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gauges something else, and He's looking for Iman, He's looking inside your hearts for taqwa. These are the things that makes a person really, really rich. A person could be the rich. In fact, the Prophet said, he said on the Day of Judgment, he says the poor ones, the destitute ones are going to be so many thousand years ahead of all the people that are going to be the ones that declare things on the customs in the Akhirah. So, there's a really powerful and a strong dua. But the ulama always said, because everyone's scared of making this dua, even though the Prophet said make it, and everybody says yeah sunnah, yeah, we should do it. Well, he says, oh Allah, make me from the miskeens, make me die as a miskeen, and make me raised on the Day of Judgment with the masakeen. How many of us are ready to do that? You have to give all your things up for that, isn't it? In fact, Abu Hurairah, the beloved of the Prophet sallallahu radiyallahu ta'ala anhu ardahu, he says one day, he says to the Prophet sallallahu, wallahi inni uhibbuk. He says, by Allah, I love you. So he says, be careful what you're saying. He says, because words have a reality. He says, no, I love Allah and His Rasul. So he said, well, then get ready for trials and tribulations, because they come to the lovers of Allah and His Rasul. So the closer you get, he says, they come closer, they come faster to that person, more like a tidal wave from a high place to a lower place. You just get ready for it. So you think it's going to be a life of no troubles. That's afia. You're far off the mark. Afia means that Allah gives you the strength to endure them, to take them, and He gives you the strength to not mourn about them. And the only one you should be mourning to is Allah. He can sort it out. And every single time you have never ever give up asking. Allah loves it when you ask. So this is the time that we need to ask. And these nights are the supposed times when we ask. Because these are the nights when Allah gives. Ya Rab, Ya Rab. These are the sale season. Everyone's getting it on a cheap price. You do little, but Allah gives you loads. Allah is looking for excuses. We've said this before. In the beautiful seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, we spoke of, we see two main parts in his life. Well, actually, there's three. One's going to be before his birth. That's all included in the seerah, and it's very important. But then there's going to be the Meccan period, and then there's going to be the Medinan period after Hijrah. So before Hijrah and after Hijrah, right? So when we see that when the Wahi started to come down and da'wah started inside the Meccan period, the Prophet's da'wah, all of it is going to be based upon just building faith. And there was nothing else. There's no ahkam really that were coming. All the ahkam and the rules that came, they came in Medina. He started establishing prayers, fasting, and all that kind of stuff. They all came. It's going to come after, isn't it? It's going to be more rooted of how a masjid's built, how zakat is paid, how ahkam come, for your neighbors, etc. All them things, buying, selling, trade, all that coming afterwards. But really, the first part was all about building faith, building iman, strengthening faith. Now there were people that just come into Islam, and now what do you do? What do you believe with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? They had concepts of previous, that idol worship that was going on inside Makkah, 360 idols that they would have around the Kaaba. Now if you were to look at the place where people would tawaf now, you see idols there. You see blood, and you see like all offerings that they would slaughter in the name of their false gods and stuff in there. Inside the Kaaba they would have them as well, until that beautiful moment when the Fatih Makkah took place. But until that time, that's the concept that they had. If they needed, for example, something bad taken away, they go to a certain idol. He could take badness away. If it's something good they wanted, they went to another one. These are the things that they were into. Now, Tawheed and pure monotheism was being introduced to her. How do you introduce that? Now, we can say that we're a million miles away. Alhamdulillah, Allah's blessed us with Iman, and we've got that. But there's so many people that are still frail in their beliefs of what that entails. There's so many things, like, for example, people you see just on an average, like, reading horoscopes, like, oh, this is what's in store for me today. Oh, no, a black cat went past me. Oh, it's going to be bad luck. So magpie, whatever it is and stuff. All these superstitions, touch wood. What's that about? Seriously, it's like, is that really going to change the fate? Allah's written it for you. The one who can make it happen or not make it happen, Allah. He's already written it for you. Nothing's going to change, and you can't do anything about it, and nor can any soothsayer or whatever. But these are like just examples of how people are monotheists, as in they believe in the kalima, but then there's still certain things that they're really falling short on, because this is that point of Aqeedah. You have to build that faith up, isn't it? And upon ilm, it's upon the knowledge that Allah and His Messenger ﷺ has introduced to us. Chapter 11, a fine qaida. There's going to be a beautiful, like a poem by the great Imam Abdullah Ja'far al-Madhar. He says, I will now present to you, and the Musannif al-Rahmah, وَنَفَعَنَ اللَّهُ بِعُلُومِهِمْ says, I'm going to present to you an incomparable poem by the Sayyid, Imam Abdullah ibn Ja'far al-Madhar al-Alawi, rahimahullah ta'ala, which treats the greatness of Allah's handiwork and the transcendence of His perfection and majesty, and serves as a reminder of His favors and gifts. We shall quote it in full, for it is like pearls strung together. Allahu Akbar. The power of poetry is something which is indismissible. You have to understand that they had a way with words but more so for the words, that these poets used to have something inside their heart that they know how to get out. And and when it comes from the heart, it goes to the heart. So he says they're like a string of pearls strung together, and its meanings succeed each other in close succession. It encompasses subtleties, knowledge, and harmony, all of which captivates the mind and intoxicates the spirit without any wine. Through their intimacy and sanctity, it is fragrant with the perfume of the musk of that seal. A lover cannot be blamed if he is enthusiastic in describing such a poem. That's how it is. People who understand poetry, they're going to tell you the words. He said, I don't care what you believe, I'm just loving it. So he says, if he yearns to approach the enclosure of its text, drink of its chalice, and attain to the removal of the veil. So the poem goes as such: A Lord all-powerful's power appeared and shone forth unveiled. It was light upon light. Truth blazed out when rendered clear by one possessing both might and mission immense. These are fires which blaze to serve as guides in night's darkness, so proceed in earnest. Before these another one sufficed Moses, the best of fires lit on the best of mounts. It preceded the spirits of thirsty men, and the thirst was quenched with that sweet water. They poured love's wine out onto distance coal, cooling down their hearts, hot coals with wines. They kept themselves in between those states, between delight, happiness and joy, presence with Allah, gladness and contentment, and palaces, gardens and flowers. Stand at his doors, acknowledging your need at the station of the destitute, abject slave, outstretching your hand to the generous one, vast in favors, relenting, forgiving, the self-exalted, everlasting, unique, self-subsistent, all-powerful, kind and thankful, the lofty, formidable, vanquisher, the exalted, all-hearing, all-seeing one, the forbearing, generous and beneficent, compassionate, subtle and all-aware, the all-powerful in his power is glorious above, having an equal, a namesake or peer. Exalted is he above being contained in a morning or an evening or night or dawn, or a place or time that holds or conditions him, be it an ancient or a belated time, or having a beginning or an ending, or being numbered in months or in years, or what vision or supposition can reach, or eons. He is the creator of eons. O star of the night, who brings you back from the eastern side after you have set, who else but he, the possessor of might? Who is he? Who is his power told by the sky's spheres spin? O crescent moon curved like a palm branch, who took the full moon's brilliance from your form? Ask his son, S-U-N, who taught it the path. It takes from its rising point to its setting place. It crosses the world in a single day. The winds tire in keeping up with its pace. On earth there are signs which are manifest, as evident as are the signs in the sky, consisting of fruits and growing plants, of watercourses and clouds and seas, and mountains descending from the cold, which, meeting the sun, melt away in its heat. The daylight after the gloomy night, the darkness that ends in radiant morning, the states of life and of death wherein the states of the small and the great are alike. All of this takes place by Kaf and Noon, and without fatigue or lassitude. O you of hidden grace, O judge, O bestower, O healer of broken bones, O rescuer of those who cry for help, refugees, refuge Safety seekers, safety. O my refuge, be my refuge. Protect me from all evil, O my ally, O my ally. Save us from our worldly worries and from harshness in our death and hell's blazing fire. May the Supreme Sovereign's blessings be upon Ahmad, the chosen in every age. Sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. He finishes off by saying, and Noah by God once said, this is a Gnostic, he says, a donkey has more knowledge of God than someone who seeks proof of Allah's oneness. So let not your perception of existent things be that of a suckling child or a hardened denier, both of whom see them as mere concrete forms. Instead, let it be that of a wise man who understands the signs and sees the Creator in the creation, the fashioner in the fashioned universe. If you think their formation and molding was a formidable task, then know that their Creator is more formidable still, and that He encompasses all things. Finishing off with a poet who expressed this well, all that you may grasp with your imagination, majesty, omnipotence, exaltation. Higher is He who originated creation, transcendent is the owner of origination. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us with this pure faith, that we can see the signs, the veils are lifted so that we can see the signs around us, that we can fortify our faith. Allah gives us strength in our faith, gives us strength in the faith of our families and our loved ones, and that we carry this all the way until we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a state that is happy with us, and that we die with this beautiful faith. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam, wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al mursalin.